We treat boredom as a minor annoyance. It is the gap between the things we are supposed to be doing, the uncomfortable pause we fill with our phones or with plans or with any number of small activities designed to ensure we do not have to feel it for long. Viktor Frankl saw boredom very differently. He considered it one of the most spiritually revealing experiences available to a human being, and he believed it was more dangerous, in its way, than anxiety. Anxiety, at least, indicates that something matters. The anxious person cares about their health, their relationships, their performance, their future. The caring may be distorted or excessive, but it is caring. Boredom does not have that quality. Boredom signals that nothing feels urgent, nothing feels engaging, nothing seems worth the investment of full attention. It is not the pain of loss but the flatness of nothing in particular. And Frankl believed that this flatness was the most accurate symptom of what he diagnosed as the existential vacuum, the absence of genuine meaning in a life. Frankl introduced a specific concept to describe one of boredom's most characteristic expressions: the Sunday neurosis. The name deserves explanation. In the working week, most people are protected from the existential vacuum by the structure of obligation. There are tasks to complete, deadlines to meet, colleagues to respond to. The busyness of work, even work that is not particularly meaningful, provides a scaffolding that holds the self upright. But Sunday, or any stretch of genuinely unstructured leisure, removes that scaffolding. And for many people, when the scaffolding disappears, what is revealed is not a rich inner life waiting to emerge but an emptiness that the scaffolding had been holding back. The Sunday neurosis manifests differently in different people. Some feel a wave of inexplicable sadness or irritability on Sunday afternoons. Others become restless and compulsive about filling the time, cleaning, planning, organizing, anything to avoid the unstructured moment. Others reach immediately for the most intense available stimulation: alcohol, food, screens, whatever creates enough noise to drown out the silence. The common thread is a flight from unoccupied time, because unoccupied time is the moment when the existential vacuum becomes audible. Frankl was clear that this flight does not solve the problem. It postpones it. The person who cannot bear an unstructured Sunday will also struggle with retirement, with serious illness, with any life transition that removes the familiar scaffolding of business. They have never learned to live from the inside out, to find in themselves a source of direction and engagement that does not depend entirely on external structure. And when external structure fails, as it inevitably does in various forms over the course of a life, they are unprepared. The proper response to boredom, in Frankl's framework, is neither suppression nor escape. It is inquiry. What is the boredom telling you? What need is going unmet in a life so organized around distraction and duty that genuine meaning has never had room to establish itself? The discomfort of boredom is not the enemy. It is a guide. It is pointing toward the gap between the life you are living and the life that is being asked of you. Frankl also had something important to say about leisure itself. He did not think leisure was the problem. Rest, play, and pleasure all have their legitimate place. The problem is leisure organized around the avoidance of self rather than the renewal of self. Genuine leisure, the kind that actually restores, involves real engagement, a walk that requires attention, a conversation that requires presence, a creative activity that requires effort. These forms of leisure are not escapes from life but re-engagements with it. They leave you more yourself, not less. The distinction matters because modern leisure culture is organized almost entirely around consumption and distraction. Entertainment is delivered passively. Rest is equated with stimulation. The ideal of a good weekend is one in which you have been constantly occupied and never had to confront an empty moment. Frankl would say this confuses activity with engagement, occupation with meaning, and produces a particularly modern paradox: people who are exhausted from their leisure because the leisure was never genuinely restorative. If you recognize the Sunday neurosis in your own experience, Frankl's counsel is not to schedule more activities. It is to sit with the silence long enough to hear what it is asking, to resist the reach for the phone or the plan or the next distraction, and to let the emptiness be present long enough to have a conversation with it. That conversation is uncomfortable. It is also, Frankl believed, the beginning of a life that does not need to be constantly filled from the outside because it has learned to generate direction from within. Subscribe to the Psychology of Viktor Frankl to explore more of his timeless ideas.